How's it going, man?
Hey. Pretty good. How's it going with you?
All right.
Hey, look at that. Dolphins brought us a nice Christmas present. I hope you had a great holiday Christmas. My birthday was the day after Christmas, so I didn't really get to cover this game. Just kind of went in a little blind, didn't get to study, was recovering on Saturday. But I had a surprise, and it wasn't the usual Santa Cole in the stocking. This was a nice victory, and I think it tells us a lot. I have film on Ewers, and they played really, really well. You say what you want about McDaniel. He's not my guy. But he had this team up for a game that really didn't matter for postseason, where Bowles had his team not so up in spurts. Dolphins win 2017. Wasn't as close as it appeared. It could have been. Mayfield had an up and down game. But you got to give credit to this Dolphins squad. Got to give credit to McDaniel. Not saying he's the guy. And you got to give credit to Ewers. He had a strong first half like last week. Stronger, actually. There were some real nice throws. Second half was quiet. But I'll get into all that. Over my holiday, I was contemplating and thinking. And my little voice is telling me, especially after this game, some things are clear. And I think Dolphin fans should prepare. I think McDaniel's coming back. I think this game, regardless of what happens next week, McDaniel's coming back. They're going to go with Ewers, see what he's got. I think based on this win, we're going to be a little farther out from that quarterback selection. I think 27, supposedly a better class. I think we're going for the quarterback in 27. I think McDaniel's going to ride with us as the head coach in 26. Champ's the only guy I don't know about. I do think if you bring McDaniel back, you've gotten rid of Greer. You've gotten rid of Tua. I think Tua is out now. They're going to get rid of him no matter what with the way Ewers is playing. Maybe we get a GM search, and that could be exciting. We'll see. We'll see if Champ's coming back, but I definitely think obviously Tua's gone. McDaniel's coming back, and Ewers is going to get his shot in 26. And you know what? Still draft a quarterback in 27. You got two good quarterbacks. That's ammo to build your team up. So I think the Dolphins' future is pretty clear. This game locks some stuff up. And this team, they're not a perfect team. There's some issues. Tampa's not a great team. They've lost, 6 of the last 7 or something. But they're a talented team. And in effect, Ewers out-battled Mayfield. Although Mayfield had some crazy runs, some nice throws, but 2 big picks. So we're going to get into it, guys. So the offense is where we'll start. No Brewer. We had Meyer in. You could definitely feel the difference. Not that Meyer had a bad game. Got to go look at the film. But Tampa gives up only 100 yards per game. We had like 90-something in the first half. We put this team on its heels, and I thought McDaniel called a darn good game through most of the game. There was a few head scratches. I didn't like him opening up with the heavy pass and the wide throws, but then he got into a groove on that second drive. I didn't like the screen pass in the red zone where he got stuffed, but other than that, I thought McDaniel did a pretty darn good job. There's a lot of penalties that could cost us if they wanted to on the offensive line and the offense, but it didn't come to haunt us. But Ewers, I got to start on Ewers. First quarterback since Dan the Man Marino to throw 2 TDs in a first half as a rookie. That's a big deal. It's better than Tua did. And it's not to say he's better than Tua. I thought he had a good game. I thought he was better than Tua probably any game this season. He hasn't reached Tua's peak as far as performance in 22 and 23, but that was his 3rd and 4th year in. But Ewers had a darn good game. He had, like I said, 3 very nice passes, a few a little here or there, but what do you expect? I'm going to get into the film, but first to understand, they blitzed us the most of any team this year, I believe, 37%. We responded with most play action, I think, 41%. Ewers showed he can throw in the quick game. We threw 206. We had 15% screens, so I would raise it higher, but the 206 in essence is what we were doing with Tua. Not as much of the over-the-middle stuff that Tua likes to do, but he's able to run this thing the way McDaniel likes to do it. Average depth of target was 10, very high, and the yards per attempt 7.8. So they were aggressive in the depth of target. You could say because he's got a bigger arm. I think you saw some throws that were very nice and better than I've seen in some areas than Tua. Yards per attempt, 7.8. That was pretty high for this season. So he was able to attack. And I think I like the best. Ewers rushed for the first down, didn't slide, picked up the first. And that was a really nice deal. We ran 8 true pass sets. And that's a little high for what we do. And that's good. That means there was a few times where we really stressed the secondary, and I got to go through it, but maybe it played a part. But overall, Ewers and McDaniel had a good game. So let's take a look at the film here and see what we see. So this was an early one, and that was right in the pocket. Cornerback bit, and he threw a real nice play into that pocket. It was a good throw, but it was a tad little late, a little behind. You had to stop and pick it up. It's still a great throw. Here's this pass was, I think, my favorite of the game. He's under pressure. He's not afraid. He's not stepping back. Delivers it to Dulcich, and Dulcich made a very nice play. That was my favorite of the day. Then it was the Dulcich here. Nice little screen. This guy's coming on. Now, this was it was an easy pass to H.N. who had a big completion, but he put it out in front in a perfect spot. It's not the hardest, but that was a good throw. Kept everything in rhythm. Here's another one. I like this one a ton, and this shows what H.N. can do. You see a little in and out spin comeback? I love that. It shows what this guy has not even touched the beginning of what he can do. Nice pass, great route. H.N. is an absolute stud. And this is, I guess you would say, his best pass. Is a touchdown, perfectly threading. He's covered high and low leverage, puts it in perfect. And that was Dulcich again, I think. Beautiful, beautiful pass. This kid showed some stuff. This one I didn't like. This was a very risky play, not a good decision, not a good pass. Had one guy really in routes. This is another one where, something happened here. Maybe he's just throwing it away. There's the pressure here by Jonah. He got it off. At least he got it off. And this was a big play. Not a huge play by him, but nice. He throws off platform, dumps it to Waller. Huge first down. Nice little pass inside. I think if Cedric made a quarter clean, he could pick up the first. And then it was this one. This was not a good pass. It was a little behind Waddle. That's a hard pass, that deep out. It had the velocity, just the accuracy wasn't there. So overall, this Tampa defense is pretty darn good. They got some good guys. Vita Vea anchoring the center on the D line. They got some good corners, a good safety. The linebackers are not so good. They're not really coming together, but it's not an easy defense. It's harder than last week. So we've got these 2 games. And I think so far, Ewers has shown enough. I'm not saying he's elite. I'm not saying he's the guy for the future. But he's clearly shown that at this point, he could do what Tua has done in this year, maybe even last, and maybe a little bit more. So we got to see. Now, this New England game coming up is really going to tell us a lot. It's going to be very difficult. And I don't think we should read it either way. You're going up to their house. They're playing very good. Vrabel's unbelievable. But I would say Ewers has got me. Again, it's not to say, he's going to be better than Tua. He's already better than Tua. He's going to be. But this is an excellent pick for a 7th rounder. Even if you have a decent starter and then you go get that guy in 27 who's your elite starter, you could trade Ewers someplace for way more capital than what you paid for him. That's winning football. I swear I hear the Twilight Zone. This is nice. Whatever you think, whatever's going to come in this little moment, in this evaluation, Ewers is showing a lot, and this is great asset for our future, and we're going to need a lot of it. So get interested. Waddle, he had the miss. He had the ribs on the reverse. I like Waddle, but every time he gets hit or goes down, I always feel like he's dinged. And he's not making a lot of money, but honestly, it's not going to bode well going forward with all these injuries. I think he's a guy you could trade in 27, maybe to go get that quarterback. Or if you got some real high value, maybe you consider moving off him. It's just too much. And we showed he really wasn't involved today's game. And he had the rest of the receivers Weiss had that touchdown. A lot of people, my man George loves Weiss from Finn's Faithful. And that was a nice little route, good catch, big kid. I like the big receivers. Now, Achane, he didn't have a great day, but he had a darn good day. He had 18 for 83 for 46 in the run game, and he tacked on 3 for 29 in the pass game. And this is what I think the kid can develop into to be worth the money you're paying him. He already is, but if you keep slamming him in there, it's going to wear him out. But if you can get this kid to run a route like that and bolster that route tree, this kid could be, unbelievable. And we've got to do it. Wright, I thought, had a pretty good day. 5 for 56 for 11.2. Real good day on the numbers. Dulcich, 5 for 58, 11.6 and a TD. Weiss for 1 for 63. They spread the ball around, and they did what they had to, and I liked it. I liked it overall. There's really no complaints. Now, as far as Washington, I got to talk about that punt return was beautiful. Didn't get too much in the pass game. The offensive line, the pass protection wasn't so good. You had the JS pressure. You had Paul give up a sack and an additional pressure on that. Jackson, 2 pressures. We're going to have to bolster this line. I think Paul's a guy. Got to get rid of Jackson. Myers held his own, and maybe he's a guy for us. But we had a lot of penalties too. False start by Jackson, hold by Meyer. The tight end, Julian Hill, false start. And then Paul had a false start in the red zone. And then JS, I think, had a holding after that. It was a little sloppy, but they did enough to say, oh, okay, maybe Jonah will get better, and he needs to. You got Meyer, you got Brewer, you got Paul. We definitely got to work on that right side. I know people are not going to be happy, but I like corner, if the best corner's out there, or tackle. Because whoever this quarterback is, you want to look at the way Mayfield, he struggled. He had a backup over there and got abused. I still think offensive line, I don't think quarterback unless some real good guy falls to you. Definitely cornerback. Those are the two I think we really need to bolster. But we're going to have a pick to be in that range. But that's for next year. So McDaniel, I've talked about. I think he did pretty good. Defense, Brooks, he had that early fill to stop the first. He had the stop for loss shortly after that. He had the out route. I think he was covering Evans for 6 yards, and it was a catch, and that's going to make him look bad. But guys, that was solid coverage by a linebacker. Not an easy job. He did have the reception, but then he went out with the hammy. What does that mean for next week? We need him. We'll see. Jones had some pens, poor coverage. He came up nice in the second half. He had a nice stop in the third quarter, but he's not a guy I want to go forward with. Douglas had some nice coverage all day. He was able to limit Evans. I was surprised they had such a limited route tree with Evans. It just seemed like they weren't being – and then the announcer was saying it all the time. But Douglas, for being an old guy, did a pretty darn good job. He had the PI late, which was stupid. Marshall, he's not been good, but this was a good game. He had the pick. He had to break up on Evans in the fourth. Maybe he's a guy could develop for us. Bigger's another guy. I thought I didn't get to see Grant too much. I thought Jordan Phillips did a pretty good job. He got washed out a couple times on a double. But overall, I thought he had a solid game. Biggers had the field goal block. That was tremendous, big. And that's what I remember. I think it was Al from 2 yards per carry telling me that's why one reason they brought him in. And you get 1 or 2 of those a year, and that's massive. So that was a big deal. Sealer had some very nice plays, some stops, really came alive this game. Chop is continuing his terrible season. Terrible. He got injured. I don't know what happened to him. Then it was Bell with the Mayfield. He looked like Josh Allen on this day. It was crazy. Bell had the missed sack in the fourth. Chubb, though, had the game-killing sack, a sack early. He was going against a low-end Chuma tackle, but he still got to do it. And so that was a big deal. But what was with Baker? I could not, I've seen him do it over the years, but it seemed a lot more. Guys missing sacks, him picking up. If he didn't pick up all those first, like a chicken with its head cut off, this game might have been, or probably would have been even uglier. But he was a big piece of the puzzle. Ince really took a lot from his play. But you can see we can't get enough pressure. And so maybe you want to take that pick and go for an edge rush. Not for me. I mean, maybe because if you get off Chubb, and I'm not really big on Chop too much. I don't know. I still think you need to solidify this line, get rid of Jackson. Cornerback, I think, because you're going to be in a range for a top talent or a tight end, an elite tight end. I mean, Waller did a good job, but he's not. If you could get like a tight end that can run, block, and catch, along with some of the stuff McDaniel does, it would uplift Ewers a ton. And this other quarterback for the future, which I think will be 2027. So in the end, this wasn't a good team. It's a descending team, a struggling team, a bit of a beat-up team, but it's a tough team. And Mayfield's not easy. They got some darn good receivers. They've got some high-point talent along this thing. We were home. They were desperate. So this is a good win. And again, I'm not saying it means Ewers is this. I'm not saying McDaniel is this, other than I think he's going to be back in 26. But in this moment, they could have wet the bed and rolled it like they've done many times, like last week. But this week, they showed something, and you know what? That's good. That's good Christmas stuff. I'm happy. My wife made me a first-time apple pie for my birthday, and it was awesome. I was so happy. Got to see my kids sing at this event. Had a great Christmas. Slept through most of my birthday because I was wiped out from partying so much. So this is a nice cherry on top, guys. Let's enjoy it. Next week's going to be brutal. If somehow we get a win, then you got to start taking some of these evaluations and expanding them north. But I don't think if we lose, unless it's an utter blowout, we should really think much of it, because it's going to be tough. It will be really tough, but it's a great evaluation to put this team, to put Ewers, to put McDaniel into a ultra negative leverage moment and see what they do. This win here, at the very least, makes next week very exciting, because then right after that, guys, we find out what's really going on. I think GM search, I'm sure Champ's going to be in a running, but I think Tua is gone. Trade or cut. Ewers is going to be the guy for 26, and McDaniel's coming back. But we'll see. Just what my little voice is telling me. Anyway, enjoy. Enjoy. This was chill. Curtis saying, be well. Go Fins. Curtis out. Start building your own online sports book today by getting signed up with aceperhead.com service that'll allow you to book action on sports from all around the world.